Can we envision 100% self-reliance on local food? Now, this may seem absurd or utopian, just like 100% renewable energy did when I came back to Hawaii in 2002. But now, in 2016, we are prepared to do just that. And if we could envision 100% self-reliance on local food, what role would technology play in shaping the future of food in Hawaii? Now, agricultural technology has gotten a bad name in some circles because it's become synonymous with genetically modified organisms. But if Monsanto and Syngenta have hijacked the term agricultural technology, tonight I'm going to take it back. Because since the dawn of agriculture, 10,500 years ago, farmers have always used technology to feed our growing populations. And there are two branches of the technology tree in agriculture: appropriate technology and high technology. Appropriate technology harnesses the regenerative power of nature. And when you regenerate the soils, whether it's through composting or through the rotation of grazing of animals, you improve the soil's water retention. And when you improve the soil's water retention across lots and lots of farms, you improve habitat restoration. And when you hold a handful of regenerated soil in your hands, all those thousands of little creatures, the biota of the soil, improves soil fertility. But appropriate technology also includes the ancestral knowledge of the place, the mysteries of the microclimates as revealed by our chants, so that we understand what are the right crops and animals to grow in this place that we call Hawaii. Now, you may ask, why is appropriate technology so important now, here in Hawaii, in the modern age? It's because for the last 100 years, we have practiced in a form of intensive agriculture that has destroyed the soils. And in the modern age, urban pressures are limiting the amount of land we have available for farming. And in the modern age, climate change is reducing the amount of rainfall that we will receive on our crops. And we will need appropriate technology to start this journey for 100% food self-reliance. Now let me turn to high technology. High technology occurs above the soils, the cultivation, the processing, the distribution, and the food we eat. And there are and always have been two branches of the high technology tree: genetics and information technology. Now, have you ever wondered, in the modern age, which is contributing more to the improvement in agriculture? So I want to ask the audience a question. Genetic modification became commercially available in the United States around the year 2000. And the most intensively studied crop for GMOs was the US corn crop. And sure enough, between 2001 and 2012, the yields of US corn improved by almost 2% year on year, which is a very healthy improvement. So here's the question to the audience. How many of you believe that biotechnology was the primary driver for the US corn crop increase? Please raise your hands. How many believe it was information technology and farmer practices? Please raise your hands. Well, much to my surprise, despite all the hoopla and all the controversy, biotechnology only increased yields by about 1/3. So what's going on out there? Where's all this productivity increase coming from? The application of information technology to agriculture has the promise and potential to be the greatest increase in yields since the Green Revolution. And there are 4 ways that information technology, when applied to agriculture, improves productivity. The first is precision. It's the ability to measure, monitor, and manage crops and animals across their entire life cycle. So we apply just the right amounts of irrigation and nutrients to our crops. The second is robotics. Many of you may not realize this, but In our economy, the agricultural sector has some of the lowest paid and most dangerous jobs in the entire country. And robotics have the ability not only to lower the cost of production of food, but also change those jobs to higher wage jobs around knowledge workers. The third area is the supply chain. Now, amazingly, in the US, we waste 40% of the food that we grow from when it leaves the farm to when it gets through your plate. Now, I admit half of that comes from our own consumer choices. We are indeed a profligate nation. But the other half comes from the supply chain. And the technologies already exist in industries today that, when applied to agriculture, can eliminate that waste entirely. Lastly, there is nutrition and health. It's about us. The ability to match your diets to your individual profile, not following some fad, to you as the individual, has the ability to change what we eat, why we eat it, how much we eat, and eliminate a tremendous amount of that waste while still improving our human health. So why is productivity from technology so important for us to get to 100% reliance on local food? It's because in Hawaii, we have to compete with imported food that's much less expensive, and we have to be more productive in order to compete. But it's not just that. At our current levels of productivity, we can only afford to pay most agricultural workers between minimum wage and $12 to $15 an hour. And that means that a family of two with one child is just above the poverty line. That's not the future we want. We can do better. We need to be able to use technology to both pay higher wages, but also to attract the best and the brightest into agriculture. That's how you get innovation. And whatever we learn on the land, when we apply it to the water, we would expect the yields to improve 2 to 3 times from the land because of the natural underlying productivity of aquatic systems. But technology alone will not provide us the wisdom we seek. For high technology to be symbiotic with nature, we need to have the wisdom to use it. So let me close with a story from India. My father, who was a food scientist, is from. There were once 3 princes that sought to feed their people. So each of them went on a journey to discover a science they could bring back to feed their people. And so they went for a year, and then they came back and talked. And the first prince said, I have discovered a science that if there is a bone, I can add flesh and limbs. And the second prince said, if there is flesh, I discovered a science where if there is flesh and limbs, I can add skin and hair and teeth. And the third prince said, I have discovered a science that if the whole of the animal is there, I can bring it to life. And the princes rejoiced because they knew between the 3 of them, they had found sciences that could feed their people. So they rushed out into the jungle, took the first piece of bone they could find, and the first prince set to work. And behold, there was the bone, then flesh and limbs. And the second prince set to work, and there were skin and hair and teeth. And without thinking for a moment, the third prince immediately brought the animal to life. And then the lion, with a menacing roar and sharp teeth, turned on its creators and devoured them, and then walked contentedly off into the jungle. Technology can create, but it can also destroy. We can have 100% reliance on renewable energy. We can have 100% self-reliance on local food. But in order for us to have these things with intention, we must marry the technology of the future with the wisdom of the past. Thank you very much.